Not going to give you a question. You are fake news.
All right, we're back here for another edition of the magAMedia.org podcast. I'm here with Rob Harper. He's had some tweets this morning about Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats' actions. We've seen Jerry Nadler back in control of the House impeachment hearings. What have your thoughts been, Rob?
Andy, I was on fire this morning. I was really taken aback by everything that had taken place yesterday with Nancy Pelosi going before the American public and saying that she has given the Judiciary Committee the okay to go ahead and start drawing up articles of impeachment against the president, Donald J. Trump, our 45th president. And my entire being was just like in a state of shock. I knew that it was going to happen because for the past 3.5 years, since the election of 2016, the only thing the Democrats and the liberal media have been doing is trying to get us to impeachment. It doesn't matter that the president has the economy booming, low unemployment, we're respected. We have the folks in NATO that some of them are now paying their fair share. The only thing the media can do is to spin it and make it seem as if though he's done something wrong. Why must the president be impeached? Because the economy is great? Because he's doing what he said that he was going to do? Because we keep winning? Is this the reason why the president must be impeached? Because these guys hate him so much? Because they lost, because the media betted against him and they said that he was going to lose? Is that the reason why he must be impeached? Or is it that he must be impeached in order for Barack Obama to look like he was the best president? Because if Donald Trump isn't impeached, and if he continues to succeed, the only legacy Barack Obama will have is that he was the first black president. Period. That's it. He did nothing successful. But what he did do is to bring all of this acrimony that we have before us right now, with two different sides fighting against each other. And someone says, oh no, we don't want to tear the country apart. Well, folks, I've got news for you. The country is already torn apart. It was torn apart the night Donald Trump became president. Who did it? The media and Barack Obama. If we could take a step back, he tore it apart when he started promoting all this divisiveness. Black and white. What's wrong is right. Hate police. There's no respect for the police. Identity politics. The country, folks, is already torn apart. The only difference is that we're not in the streets fighting with guns and blood. This has to stop. At some point, someone has to stand up and say, you guys lost, deal with it. It's time to be about the business of the people. We can only pray that the Inspector General's report that's going to come out on Monday brings us closer to finding out what actually happened. Although a lot of us know what happened. The president was spied upon. Or candidate Trump was spied upon. After that, we need John Doran's report to come out and point fingers. These people need to be marched before TV, their names called out, and they need to be cuffed. And if it gets all the way to Barack Obama, so be it. Because this BS has to stop. It's ridiculous for her to come out and say that, and I pray for the president, and I'm a Catholic. Well, hey, I'm a Protestant, okay? And sometimes I lie, and sometimes I have hate in my heart. Nancy, you have hate in your heart, as well as Adam Schiff. And then Adam Schiff, who secretly gets the phone records of Devin Nunes and then John Solomon. I'm like, why did AT&T give him that information? Who is he? It didn't even go to the courts. They just gave him the information.
Got the president's lawyer's phone records also.
Right. The president.
Conflict of interest.
I'm like, how did this happen? And why aren't people screaming bloody murder? This is not acceptable. This entire thing about the impeachment is not conventional. Yes, they're in power. the Democrats, and they can do whatever the hell they want to do, but that does not mean they should do it, and that does not mean it's not wrong. This is absurd, and again, the Inspector General's report needs to bring us closer to a closure as to what actually happened, and then John Durham's report, which has been going on for quite some time. We need answers. We need these people to be held accountable. And if Barack Obama is in the middle of it, on the side of it, or behind it, he needs to be held accountable and he needs to be caught. Andy, that's my opening statement.
Very well said, Rob. You know, what we just seen the other day with the professors at the hearings, you have Professor Turley, the only one that's not a partisan hack up there. You had Professor Karlan and Professor Feldman. They were disgraceful. They were just the typical face of elitism, and they think that the Democrats think that's going to appeal to the American people. There's no way.
No, not at all. And it's interesting how I even tweeted about this, that Turley, in his opening statement, it was so eloquently put. And he said, I didn't vote for this president. I voted for Obama and for Clinton. But aside from all that, he can take a step back and say, there aren't any impeachable offenses here. Now, what he was saying was falling on deaf ears because no one was listening to it. No one, meaning the Democrats, they could care less because it is a foregone conclusion that they want to impeach this president. They know that they won't get him out of office, but so that he will have a black mark on his name so that whenever they say Donald Trump, they can say he was impeached. That's what they want. That is a sad day. And for you to have professors, the other three professors who were completely biased, and that Karlan lady, Pamela Karlan, to bring up the president's son's name, and then you get this loud applaud in the audience. I'm like, are you serious? But this woman...
Just when you think the Democrats can't go any lower, they do scummy things like bring up the president's 13-year-old son. We actually have a clip of Matt Gaetz responding to Professor Karlan. Let's just play his response real quick.
How liberals want to be around each other and cluster, and conservatives don't want to be around each other, and so they have to spread out. It makes people, you may not see this from, like the ivory towers of your law school, but it makes actual people in this country feel like, excuse me, you don't get to interrupt me on this time. Now, let me also suggest that when you invoke the president's son's name here, when you try to make a little joke out of referencing Baron Trump, that does not lend credibility to your argument. It makes you look mean. It makes you look like you're attacking someone's family, the minor child of the President of the United States. So let's see if we can get into the facts. To all of the witnesses.
Well said from Rep. Matt Gaetz.
Absolutely.
First Lady Melania Trump also responded on Twitter, a minor child deserves privacy and should be kept out of politics. Pamela Karlan, you should be ashamed of your very angry and obviously biased public pandering and using a child to do it. Absolutely disgusting.
Very disgusting, and I am surprised that Michelle Obama and Laura Bush, none of them have come out, or even Mrs. Carter, to denounce what she did. Mm-hmm. I mean, if anyone, you would think the mothers who wanted to protect their children would come out and say, okay, folks, time out. We've got to stop this. But Michelle can't do it, and we know why she can't do it. Because she suffers from low self-esteem. Mm-hmm. She doesn't want to give Melania any type of credence, any type of hands up. So she would rather stay behind closed doors in her loud yellow Big Bird suit and claim to be the most important woman, influential woman in the world. No, it doesn't work that way. And I shake my head at her. And anyone wanting to put her up on a pedestal and say that she's so beloved, no. I shake my head. And then the other day, you have Whoopi Goldberg trying to justify what Pamela Karlan said about Baron Trump. I'm like, are you serious? The same Whoopi Goldberg who tried to justify the actions of a pedophile? I'm like, are you serious? And these are the people, Andy, these are the people that are put out front and we're told to listen to. These are the people who are supposed to set the agenda as far as how we're supposed to behave. I don't think so.
I seen Alyssa Milano defending her too, the same woman who's bragged about killing 2 of her babies.
I think, where do these people come from? This is all the more reason And we have to take this seriously because this is a culture warfare, as Newt Gingrich said, that we have to win by any means necessary. Because if we don't, what will happen is that you'll have these same people walking out on a day-to-day basis, bragging about having abortions, having transvestites or transgenders or whatever you want to call them in our schools, reading books to our kids, opening up their legs, exposing themselves. This is not the America we want. This is not the America that our forefathers handed down to us. They talk about global warming and that it's going to kill us. No, this crazy culture, political culture of the left is what's going to kill us. And we have to stand up now and say enough is enough.
Speaking of crazy, did you see sleepy, creepy Joe Biden yesterday and him just completely unhinged on a voter? Let's just play the clip real quick and then get your response, Rob.
Sure.
And it will make us not only secure but humane again. One last question. Yes, and then I'm going to ask if any student has a question over there, any one from St. Joe's.
Yep. I'm an old Iowa retired farmer. I'm kind of unique because I'm not a Republican. Okay. I've got two problems with you. One is you're 10 years old as I am. You're too old. I'm 83, and I know damn well I don't have the mental faculties I did when I was 30 years old. All right, the other, forget that stuff. That's all.
I'm not forgetting that. I'll answer it.
I got a question I want you to answer. We all know Trump has been messing around in Ukraine over there, holding their foreign aid for them to come out saying they're going to investigate you. We know all about that. And he's no back over for that. But you, on the other hand, that's your son over there. He get a job and work for a gas company that he had no experience with gas or nothing, in order to get access for the president. So you're selling access to the president just like he does. So
You're a damn liar, man. That's not true. And no one has ever said that? No one has heard that?
I see it on the TV.
You see it on the TV. No, I know you do. And by the way, that's why I'm not sedentary. I get up and no, let him go. Let him go.
Basically, Biden just was completely unhinged, called the guy out of shape, dumb. Just no way to talk to a voter, and then an 83-year-old man at that. The optics of that. Could you imagine if President Trump attacked an elderly person like that, Rob?
No, not at all. I mean, if he did, the media, CNN, MSNBC, CBS, Washington Post, New York Times, they would all be attacking Donald Trump. Because if you think back during the 2016 election, there were so many instances whereby they tried to say that Donald Trump attacked a person with a handicap or a disability. He tried to attack a woman who was asking him a question, whereas we have here on tape Joe Biden. I mean, in essence, he was threatening, he was bullying, and to go up in the guy's face, to invade the guy's space with, no, you lied, and you're this, you're a damn liar. I'm like, are you serious? But what's happening with the media? They're giving him props and saying, oh, wow, he's on fire. This is Joe Biden that we're used to. No, Joe Biden is a creepy man who likes to have the hair on his legs rubbed by little black kids. He wants them to sit in his lap, and then he wants to smell the hair of women. This guy should be put out to pasture. He is done his time. Think about it. What this guy was saying, what he was saying was so true. Mm-hmm. Joe Biden has been in office for almost how long? Like 30 plus years. And what has he done? He hasn't done anything. So now he thinks that if he becomes president, he's going to be able to do what? Change laws? I don't think so. You had 30 years, buddy, to get it done, and you didn't get it done. You were unable to get it done. So now, when you have 1 foot on the ground and the other foot on a banana peel about to slip in a grave, and you think that you can come in and change things? And what do we want you to change? We don't want you to touch the economy because it's booming. We don't want you to touch unemployment because it's booming at 3.5% and constantly going down. We don't want you to touch the stock market because it's up and it keeps hitting record numbers. We don't want you to touch anything with our foreign allies because they're now respecting us. And we don't want ISIS to come back. So what exactly, Portel, will you do besides sit there and go to sleep and put your foot in your mouth constantly?
You're exactly right, Rob, about the double standard of the media. I actually seen CNN last night say, this is the Joe Biden we want to see. He looks strong. It's like attacking an 83 elderly man.
Yeah, he's strong.
President Trump would be ripped for weeks for this.
Oh, completely. Joe Biden is old. He's 79 or 78, and he's attacking his an elderly old man, and they're saying, this is Joe Biden we want to see.
For bringing up a legitimate question. Does he think if he runs for president, no one's going to bring that up?
Right. It's like, I don't think so. And not too long ago, a reporter was asking him about his illegitimate grandchild. And he's like, oh, well, I don't want to talk about that. Mm-hmm. You don't want to talk about that, but you think that it's okay for people to talk about Barron Trump. I mean, look at the stark differences here. Mm-hmm. And the media, again, they're okay with this. They're telling us that this is okay.
Yeah, they protect Biden, who's in his mid-40s, more than they do a 13-year-old kid in Barron Trump. It's just pathetic.
Andy, that's so true. He's in his mid-40s, soon to be 50. They want to protect him, but as far as Barron Trump, throw him out there. It's like, what type of world are we living in? These are the same people who want to kill innocent babies. Mm-hmm. The same people. Nancy Pelosi, and not only Joe Biden going ballistic, Nancy Pelosi went ballistic on a reporter during a press conference. I think there was too much in the air. They were having an eclipse of sorts, but she went up on a reporter saying, hey, I'm a Catholic and don't you mess with me with words like that. I'm like, seriously? And something else about Nancy Pelosi that drives me nuts. We hear this constantly. Oh, Nancy Pelosi, she knows how to count numbers. She knows how to count. Well, by God, how long has a woman been in Congress? If she doesn't know how to count now, when will she learn how to count? I don't care about her being able to count heads, and she's going to count. She's going to see how many people are for impeachment. Well, no big deal there. All the Democrats are for impeachment.
She can count the number of seats the Democrats lost under Barack Obama in the House.
Bingo. But no one wants to talk about that. They make her out to be this like woman of integrity. She has this power. She's this. I got news for you. Nancy Pelosi is 80 years old or 81 years old. She should be retired. She stumbles over her words. She's constantly shaking. And then yesterday during the CNN town hall, she told J Harper she didn't want to answer any more questions about impeachment. Well, look, lady, you brought us here. So you should answer all the questions that we have about impeachment. And beginning with, it's a complete farce, because there are no impeachable offenses. And the fact that she's going to say all roads lead to Russia, leads to Putin. Okay, lady, you guys had a 2-year Mueller investigation. He came back. There was nowhere in that investigation did he say that there was collusion by the Trump campaign and Russia. There was nowhere. He didn't even touch it. The only thing he tried to do was say, oh, maybe there was obstruction of justice because he tried to fire me, which is a complete farce. The president can fire whomever the hell he wants to fire. And that's another thing. These idiots, they behave as if though they need to tell Trump what he can't do. No, the Constitution does that. Okay? Not the House of Representatives. What you guys need to do is to pass bills so that the country can move forward. Look at the immigration. Look at the Canada-Mexico agreement. What's happening there? The president has managed to turn this economy around, no thanks to you deadbeats, the lazy, do-nothing Democrats. And now they want to impeach the president over a phone call whereby he released the bloody transcripts. You can't, as Jonathan Turley said, you can't get inside of a person's head and say, well, maybe he meant this, maybe he meant that. You can't presume. You have to know the facts. And what they're doing right now is that they're trying to make us think that what the facts are is what they're saying. It's wrong. I don't care if you hate Donald Trump. Folks, wake up. You got to wake up. and see that we're being had. Like I said, the country is already ripped apart. We're just not in the streets with blood and guns. But we've been ripped apart because you have a party who refuses to accept the fact that they lost. You have a party that wants to change the electoral college and go by the popular vote. And what does that mean? Only the liberals and the big states will decide who the president is.
It's got to be tough news for the Democrats. In news today, the unemployment reached a 50-year low. 266,000 more jobs added by President Trump in the month of November. How are they trying to impeach a president who keeps doing so many great things for the American people and all Americans? Makes no sense.
Yep, Andy, as I said, they want to impeach him because he keeps winning. Barack Obama never won.
No president has ever lost an election with this strong of an economy, and the Democrats know that.
Well, they know it, and that is the reason why they want to try and damage him by any means necessary. And do not doubt that these same Democrats, they will lie, cheat, and try to destroy this president before the election. They're going to try to steal the election because they know they don't have the numbers. They're going to try and steal the election by having illegal aliens to vote, dead people to vote. You watch. And they're going to find voting ballots in the back of cars. All this stuff is going to transpire. And if you remember, back in 2015, 2016, their savior, Barack Obama, said that, there's no way Russia or anyone else can interfere with the election. He said this. We have it on tape. If he said it, and if it's on tape, why are they now saying that Russia colluded? And if Russia did collude, all the countries try to collude, why didn't Barack Obama stop them? Well, he didn't stop them because he thought it was going to benefit Hillary Clinton. That is the reason why the Inspector General, who has no power to subpoena anyone, he can only give a report saying, here are the misdeeds. We need to know the misdeeds. We need to know the people who were involved. And then John Durham needs to come out with indictments. We, as American people, need this. This is the only way this country can be brought back together. And if the media, if they were complicit, and if they did things that they should not have done, they should be included in it. Right now, the media thinks that they're immune from anything because the Constitution says that we have a right to do blah, 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 blah. Yes, the Constitution said it, but the Constitution did not say we have the right to lie, steal, cheat, and overthrow a president, a government who was duly elected by the people because you guys got your numbers wrong when it came time to the count of the votes. On the election night, they were all on TV saying, Donald Trump is going to get a beating. He's going to lose. But he won. And these are the same people who say, well, Donald Trump, if he doesn't win, he's not going to leave office. He's not going to want to leave office. Why would you think that? Whereas Hillary Clinton, to this day, is yet to accept that she lost. She has blamed everyone except for herself.
Mm-hmm. I just seen her appear on the Howard Stern show as how low she's gotten and what media she's taking. And yeah, it was just full of excuses saying that she lost to the devil. All this. She said Inauguration Day was the hardest day of her life.
She lost to the devil. Well, I'm sure it was the hardest day of her life, but Andy, just back to what you were saying on the Howard Stern show.
Mm-hmm.
Now, prior to all of this, she would have never appeared on Howard Stern.
That's right.
Now, I have nothing against Howard Stern, but if you want to attack someone to say that he attacks women, I mean, look at how he objectifies women. He gets women on there and tell them they need a breast job, or they don't need a breast job, or they need a vagina change. It's like, folks, are you serious? But yet, she's going to go into Howard Stern's den because to her, it's the cool thing to do. He gets a lot of viewers.
I put some clips of that interview up on magAMedia.org if you ever wanted to hear about Hillary's sex life before.
Oh my God. Yeah.
That's the spot to hear it.
Well, that's kind of sticky, but it's unbelievable that she appeared on his show. Mm-hmm. All shows and of all people, that's the desperation of the left. They're making wrong look right. And it is sickening. And I read somewhere today that Lindsey Graham had said that, well, we're not going to do an eye for eye, whatever that saying is, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, as far as subpoenaing Adam Schiff's phone logs and whatnot. And this is what I have to say to Lindsey Graham. Why the heck not?
Yeah, it's about time we do.
Right. If the tables were turned, he wouldn't hesitate to subpoena information, as he's done now. We need to know what Adam Schiff knew and when he knew it and how he knew it. We need to know.
Voters have been wanting to see us fight fire with fire for a long time.
Absolutely. I tweeted about this. This is not the conventional game whereby you say, this is your side, this is my side. The Democrats are notorious for taking the Constitution and shaping it the way they want to shape it and rereading it the way they want to read it so that the games will match what they're doing. It is time that Republicans stand up and say, hey, this is what we've got to do. And God forbid Donald Trump not win the election. Whoever wins other than Donald Trump, they should immediately open up articles of impeachment. If I were in Congress as a representative or Senate, I would immediately push for it. If I were a congressman, representative, I would say we should open up articles of impeachment for Joe Biden because we have facts that he colluded with the Ukrainians. Absolutely. Why not? Why can't we do it? And if Pete Buttigieg, who's soaring in the polls, they say that he might win New Hampshire and Iowa, why? I saw a tape the other day that is interesting because Twitter won't let me post this tape on Twitter. There was a Black Lives Matter guy who happened to be white attending some type of meeting that Black Pete Buttigieg supporters were attending. This guy stands up and he goes, wait a minute. What's going on here? Why are we supporting Pete Buttigieg? He can't even control South Bend, Indiana. And these people descended upon him as if though to attack him when he was speaking truth to power. Why are they trying to make Pete Buttigieg palatable to black people? He knows nothing about black people. He only wants the vote so that he can get in there. We don't need Pete Buttigieg. He's only after himself. He is a radical. And why Twitter will not allow me to tweet that is beyond, I can't figure it out. But folks, we need to wake up and see what's happening here. Because the liberals are trying to control everything. And if Republicans, conservatives don't start pushing back, and I mean pushing back hard, because do not doubt, there is a war that's going on. The country is already divided. We're just not in the streets shedding blood. But believe you me, it has already commenced. Already.
Well said, Rob. Speaking of war, most of you are probably listening to this on December 7th, Pearl Harbor Day. Let's play a quick clip from President Roosevelt on a 40-second clip on after Pearl Harbor happened, his famous December 7th, 1941 speech.
December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy. The United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan. No matter how long it may take us to overcome this premeditated invasion, the American people in their righteous might will win through to absolute victory. December 7th.
It's a historic speech, probably one of the most, well, obviously one of the most historic in American history.
Yes.
Roosevelt answering to the Japanese attacking Pearl Harbor.
Yep.
Yeah, just there's not too many World War II veterans walking around still. If you know any, make sure you say thank you and all that good stuff. Anything you'd like to say about Pearl Harbor Day, Rob?
No, I think that it is a day that will live in infamy. That was a day that we entered World War II. And just the behind-the-scenes machinations that Roosevelt had to come up with in order to get people comfortable with us entering the war, it's quite an interesting story, and I would definitely recommend people go in and look at it, because it wasn't just like this. He had wanted to go in, but he was looking for a reason. And that happened to be the reason for him to go in when the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor. And I actually went to Hawaii and I saw Pearl Harbor about, I think it was 6 years ago. And if you're ever there, I would definitely recommend you go and see it.
Yeah, a great documentary about right before the time in Pearl Harbor. It's Ken Burns' documentary on the Roosevelts. Very thorough and good stuff there. Well, thank you, Rob. Thank you, everyone, for listening to another edition of the magAMedia.org podcast. We'll see you soon.
Yes, thank you.